My dudes, this video scares me. So, my name is Steph. Today I'm filming a book haul. Basically, every book I've purchased, received, whatever, since my last book haul on January the 29th. There's a lot of books here. I'm thinking maybe I've got a problem with book buying. Maybe. So this is how we're going to structure this video. I've got one stack of books that I've bought and since I've bought them have read, and then I've got 5 other stacks of books organized by alphabetical order by the author's surname, and I don't know why. That's just what we're doing today. So let's get into it. Oh my god, there's so many books. Let's go. Okay, so the first book. So this is from what I've bought and since read. We've got The Prisoner's Throne by Holly Black. I don't remember this being released this year. I thought it was released last year. The more you know. This is the sequel to The Stolen Heir. I actually really liked this book. Doesn't even come close to the OG trilogy, but not too bad if you want like a little bit of Alfheim back into your life. I have also got Egghead by Bo Burnham. This is a poetry collection. I got this from Amazon Warehouse Returns because there is like a tiny rip on the dust jacket and it ended up being $3, so I thought fuck it. I did read this one quite a while ago, so I'm probably due for a reread to really see if I still vibe with it, but it was $3. Like, could I say no to it? Absolutely not. Next, I've got a set of 3 books. These are books I read recently and talked about in my May wrap up. We've got I'm a therapist and my patient is a vegan terrorist. I'm a therapist and my patient is going to be the next school shooter. And I'm a therapist and my patient is in love with a pedophile. Yeah, great. So I read these 3 books in May. I liked them all. They all started as just stories on Reddit, so they're all completely fictional. Don't worry, your pretty little heads over it. I liked them. I don't know if I had read them previously, would I have purchased the books? Probably not, but now that I own them, they are going to stay. They're fun. I don't know the actual author's name. They're by Dr. Harper. Like, that's the therapist in the books. I don't know. I'm lazy and I didn't want to go Googling. And next I have got Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This was a 5-star. We love Abby. She can do no wrong. This book follows 2 people that are both cursed to date someone right before the person finds their soulmate. They decide they're going to break the curse by dating each other, but romance books. What do we actually think is going to happen, guys? Like, next I've got, I haven't been able to talk about this yet. This book, so this is called Bright Young Women by Jessica Knoll. This book was so good. It was basically a fictionalized version of the Ted Bundy murders, but really hones in and focuses on the victims and people that are impacted by the murders. I have nothing bad to say about this book. Well, it was a little bit slow sometimes. I think the pacing definitely could have had like been tweaked a little bit, but for the most part this book was absolutely solid. I finished it and I was like, well shit, what do I do now? So I would highly recommend. I really enjoyed it. Enjoy is not the right word. It's fine. It's fine. Next, a bunch of these books are actually going to be in my June wrap up, so spoilers ahead. Next I've got Mayfly by CJ Lead. I read this book this week. This book follows a girl named Maeve. She lives in LA, Hollywood. She works at like a Disney World equivalent, and she's most definitely an undiagnosed sociopath and psychopath. And it's basically her trying to fit in with like normal people, trying to laugh at what they find funny, trying not to scare people, and just it was a ride. I will say it again, pacing a little bit slow, kind of in the middle, but the ending actually broke my heart. I felt so depressed by the end. And fun little facts, this book has got some amazing song recommendations for Halloween vibes. I have got a playlist now on YouTube of all the songs in this book because they were vibes. The next book I have is Do Not Disturb by Frida McFadden. This book was wild. I'm basically in the first chapter. We're following our protagonist, whose name I don't remember, Quinn. We're following Quinn, and she basically is like, yeah, murdered my husband. oops, and decides to go on the run. She ends up getting stuck in a blizzard and decides to stay the night at a shady, dodgy looking motel and sticks it out there, waits out the storm at this little motel. And I'm not going to say what it reminded me of, but it definitely reminded me of a different piece of media that I like and that I've encountered many a time in my life. There was one chapter that ended with a sentence, and as soon as that sentence was read, I thought, oh, okay, so is it confirmed to be a retelling of this piece of media? And then the first sentence in the next chapter was, oh, I bet you thought that this was going to be exactly like that other piece of media. Well, you're wrong. It was good. It really subverted my expectations. It's Frida. I liked it. It was fun. It was quick. And like, it did get a little bit twisty towards the end. So I give the queen points where she deserves them. But then I also read The Housemaid is Watching. Okay. With all the love and respect, there's a character in this book. I'm just going to say who the character is. Actually, skip forward if you haven't read the previous Housemaid books and you want to. There's a character in this book who's in all the books. His name is Enzo. And while he is meant to be like really nice and considerate and sometimes really soft, this man was absolutely done dirty in The Housemaid is Watching. There were so many points when I was reading and then had to put the book down to be like, the Enzo that we've seen in the previous books would never. Like, he just was doing things, saying things, acting really suspicious and shady, and of course he had an excuse, like a pretty valid excuse for it all, but I'm like, my Enzo would never. I don't know what happened between the last book and this book, but Enzo as a character fully pissed me off the entire time. There's also a next door neighbor who pissed me off the entire time. And I get it. In thrillers, like, obviously the characters aren't always supposed to be likable. Like, you're not necessarily rooting for all the characters all the time. But, I mean, I liked the plot. I think the twist, the resolution, it was interesting. Granted, it's Frida. It was interesting. I really couldn't get past the fact that Enzo was such a shitty fucking husband. Like, it actually really irked me. But it's so fine. Next, I put 2 books by Mia Sheridan. Again, I didn't realize that I had bought them this year. I thought I'd owned them a lot longer, and it is Becoming Colder and Finding Eden. If you put the covers like this, they're like, this duology, the Arcadia duology, it follows 2 characters, Eden and Calder. They basically both grow up on a remote commune / cult / extremist religious group, and there's no way they are ever going to be able to get together. There's a lot of factors preventing them from ever being happy and in an open relationship with their community, but obviously they fall in love. And I really liked these books. I will say pacing has been such an issue with me in June. The first like 40% of Becoming Colder was snooze-worthy, and like the middle third of Finding Eden, very, very slow. But for the most part, like, I like these books. I'm never gonna not like something Mia Sheridan has written. She's one of my go-to auto-buy authors. It was just, I realized during the first book, I don't think I like romance books involving cults. I think I prefer thrillers that are about cults, because in my head that makes more sense. But anyway, I guess, like, it wasn't their choice. Like, they grew up in a cult. It's not like they chose to go into the cult, but major culty vibes. And especially if you're born into it, it's hard for you to, like, crack onto something being wrong, I guess. It was just very infuriating. Okay. Next, technically, I haven't physically read this book. Like, I haven't opened it and read this book, but it is Lore Olympus, Volume 6 by Rachel Smith. I was recommended these by someone who used to be one of my friends. Hint, hint, definitely not my friend anymore. And I read these all on Webtoon. I've already read all of these on Webtoon, but I mean, they were basically taken from Webtoon and put into a book. If you don't know, Lore Olympus is basically a modern-ish retelling of a lot of Greek mythology, but it primarily centers around Hades and Persephone, which Next is a book I actually found secondhand. It's the last book in a trilogy that I own, and I've got the first 2 books, read the trilogy, love the trilogy, it's so fun. This is If You Dare by A.R. Tor. I have also got The Girl in 6E and Do Not Disturb. I read these books quite a while ago, but fun vibes. We follow a woman who basically locks herself in her apartment, doesn't go out, gets everything delivered to her door because she's a killer. She has the urge to just go out and murder a bunch of people, and she knows that about herself, and she knows it's not like productive to her life, so she locks herself away so she can't do it. And she's also a cam girl to get money, like working from home, and she becomes mighty suspicious when one of the guys in her cam girl like group chat, he stops being on the camgirl website, and there's a story in the news about how a little girl is missing, and she's like, oh my god, oh, it's the guy from the cam website, he's definitely kidnapped that little girl. It gets pretty wild, but this is the last book in the series. I obviously don't think I enjoyed it as much as the others, because when does that ever happen? But it was a solid book. Last 2 books from the ones I have purchased and read, we have got Cold Thin Air volumes 1 and 2 by CK Walker. These are basically Reddit stories. Like, these were no sleep stories that were published into little collections. I will say, just a massive heads up, if you for some reason like a couple of her stories and want to buy the collections, by all means go ahead. As someone who studied English post high school and had a full 2-year unit on grammar and punctuation, there are a lot of typos in these books. There's one book where, just say we've got 3 characters, Amy, Bob, and Caleb. And we're reading about Amy, Bob, and Caleb, and a couple pages in, Stephen gets thrown into the mix. I literally was like, who is Stephen? Like, we have never heard this character before. And then I reread what I'd already read to make sure there was no Stephen. And it turns out that she'd originally published the story online with Stephen instead of Bob. But she just changed the names and missed one. There are a lot of words, like, not misspelt, but, well, I guess misspelt. Things that, like, autocorrect didn't get, like, pick up. Wrong punctuation, sentences that don't make sense. Like, you really have to kind of figure out what was she trying to say here before you can pick up where the typo is in the sentence. But look, despite that, these stories are fun, especially volume 1. I preferred volume 1 over volume 2. Volume 1 was really fun. Nice, short, succinct stories that actually made sense. Volume 2, I didn't know what was happening most of the time. A lot of the stories went completely over my head, to the point I had to actually go onto Reddit to see where she originally posted the story and read the comments to see if anyone else could make sense of it. But despite everything I just said, they are really fun. Quick little short story collections. They are definitely vibes. And in true Steph fashion, the books I have read are completely outnumbered by the books I haven't. I'm scared. Let's get into it. The first book I have, again, thought I'd bought this last year, is, what is it called? No, it's called Found, an anthology of found footage horror stories. This is a compilation, so there's a bunch of different authors. They kind of seem like fun Reddit stories, basically about someone finding a VHS, playing it, and whatever they see. I've decided I'm actually going to start this today. Nice. Next, I have got The Rule Book by Sarah Adams. I own quite a few books by Sarah Adams, probably like 3 or 4. Haven't read any of them, but these are the like $12 books that pop up at Big W that I just grab. And you know what? A year in the future, I'll probably be like, who's Sarah Adams, and unhaul them all. But for now, we're going to keep purchasing them because I have no self-control. Next, I have got Brother by Anya Alborn. I just know that this is about a family of like depraved killers, and the one son in the family is like, I don't want to be like you, I want to be a good person, and he falls in love, but like, is he gonna kill her or is he gonna romance her? I don't know. Next, I've got Patricia Wants to Cuddle. I bought this partly because I used to work with Patty. Patty was my absolute favorite co-worker. She was my work mom, and Patricia Wants to Cuddle is just, it's so not her vibe. I thought it was hilarious. So this is actually about a woman who goes on like a reality show about surviving in the wild. She makes it to the top 4 and then realizes that, oh, the eliminations are actual eliminations, not like you're getting kicked off the show, like you're getting kicked out of life. It's short, it sounds like a fun little horror read, so I'm probably gonna save it for October, which I can't wait for. I love October, one of my favorite months of the year. Next, I have got That Kind of Guy by Stephanie Archer, mostly because we love an author named Stephanie whose spelling is the same as mine. This is basically big golden retriever energy versus black cat energy. I also picked up Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. I will buy anything Tessa Bailey writes. She's not like an author by author because her books are so amazing. They're like next favorites, but they're fun and I like them, so I buy them. Leigh Bardugo's The Familiar. I don't know why, this just looks like a vampire book to me. Apparently it's not. It's like a historical witchy book, which is fine. I like most everything Leigh Bardugo writes, but tell me that doesn't look like a vampire hound, an aristocratic vampire specifically. I don't know. I also have got The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry. I have never read Lucinda Berry. I've seen on TikTok a lot of people compare Lucinda to Frida, and other people are like, I understand the comparison, but you're definitely incorrect. So I do want to read Lucinda Berry. I think it would be interesting to see how the vibes are different. This is basically about a couple adopting and a child, and her being like not quite right, like NQR, something's not going on properly up here. I purchased The Haunting of Alejandra for my horror subgenre deep dive, which part 1 is now on my channel. Don't know if part 2 is ever going to come out, if I'm being completely honest, but this book was for the possession category. It's basically a retelling of La Llorona, but you know, it's such a beautiful cover. I really like floral covers. And next, I have got a book called Ghost Eaters by Clay McLeod Chapman. I purchased this actually this week, really recently. I think it was like $6 because it's an Amazon warehouse return. This book sounds like the novelization of Talk to Me, the A24 movie from last year. Basically, there's a new drug on the market. It's called Ghost, and when you use Ghost, you can see and communicate with spirits. It sounds good. It was a cheap hardcover. We are here for it. We stand. I made a boo-boo with this book. It is called The Last One by Will Dean. I spent, I think, like $35 on this paperback to get it imported from the US Amazon. And then I realized that I could have just purchased it with the UK title from Australia for like $19. Didn't realize that this had another title for different countries. I hate peace and love to authors and publishers, but just keep the title the same. Change the cover, change the synopsis that you publish on the back. Keep the title the same. The amount of times this has happened to me where I don't even know what the UK title is. This is the book, this is the title that everyone has been talking about on BookTube and BookTok. So this is the one I purchased. Now, obviously, could I have done some more research? Of course I could have. But I saw this book and it's the one that I wanted, so I got it. And then lo and behold, it has an entirely different title. So anyway, I'm really excited. This is a thriller about a girl named Kaz. She is going on a cruise with, I think, her family and her boyfriend. She goes to bed one night, she wakes up, and the entire cruise, like the entire ship, completely empty. She's the only person on the ship. And from memory, it's not like there's no signs that there were other people there. Like, there's still people's luggage and people's breakfast that they haven't finished, but they're all gone. And I've heard this book is slow at the start but gets wild at the end, so we are here for her. I have got Barbarians Taming by Ruby Dixon. I am going to just purchase all these books as they come out with new covers, because I think all the new covers are absolutely adorable. This is the, what, 8th book? 2, 4, 6, 7, 8th book in the Ice Planet Barbarian series. I read, I think, the first 8 or 10 books years ago. Loved them all. They all got like a 4-star or higher. Basically, a bunch of women from Earth get abducted by actual aliens, but the spaceship crash lands on an ice planet. Now these blue aliens that they're falling in love with, not the guys who kidnapped them, but they kind of take them in, and the women kind of join their society. It's fun vibes. It's actually really, really fun. I have got a book. I don't think I've talked about this on the YouTubes. It is American Psycho by Brent Easton Ellis. Oops. Everyone, I think, has heard of American Psycho. I've seen the movie. I think the movie is iconic. This book was really interesting. I purchased it from Amazon, and on the Amazon listing at the very bottom in bold capital letters it says, "Not for sale in Queensland." which is a state in Australia, which was a bit weird to me. Like, it's strange that one state specifically in Australia would just not sell it on Amazon. Like, weird. Then I received this book in the mail. It came shrink wrapped. Again, that's never happened to me before. With a sticker on it that said, restriction. So, I was very curious about why. Like, I don't think censorship is a massive issue here in Australia. I don't know. I've read some, and I said this to my friends, like, you want to talk about disturbing books, right? Like, anything by Aaron Beauregard, boom. A bunch of other stuff that I can't think about right now. They are terrible. But this book, which is on the back listed as one of the most notorious and influential novels of the 20th century, this is one that Amazon decides to restrict and put warnings on. It's wild. I did some Googling. Apparently there was actually a shooting in New South Wales, which is another state in Australia. And I don't know, I guess the Queensland government realized that the shooting wasn't even inspired by, that the shooter happened to have a copy of American Psycho. Like, the shooter liked American Psycho, and the Queensland government said no, like, we're not having that book in our state anymore. Obviously you can still purchase it, like, there are some bookstores that still stock it, but I guess Amazon, you cannot purchase it if you live in Queensland. It's wild to me. And apparently when the author found out that it was banned in Queensland, Australia, he was like, oh, that's adorable, because if people really want to read a book, like, they will find ways to read said book. I'm sure, like, there are so many banned books worldwide that people still manage to read. This book follows Patrick Bateman, okay? The man is a psycho, but this isn't just about him, I think. Okay, from what I remember of the movie, it's not just about him killing a bunch of people because he's a psycho. It's about him killing people and wanting to get attention or recognition for it, and realizing he's literally so unimportant and so irrelevant in everyone's lives that he's telling people, like, I killed them, and they're like, okay, I'm so sure you did, Patrick, like, go back to work. So, I don't know, I'm excited. My only issue is that, like, this font is friggin' small. It's gonna be a struggle, it's gonna be a struggle. Next, I've got First Lie Wins by Ashley Elston. Basically, we're following a character named Evie Porter who has everything a girl could want. A boyfriend, a house with a picket fence, a fun group of friends, except she doesn't exist. So first she established her identity, then established the target, which is a boyfriend, and then the job. I don't know. I have no idea. This is one of those books that I purchased for an exorbitant amount on Amazon because it was only from Amazon US. And then, like, a month after I received this book in the mail, it was at Big W for like $12. I really need to be better with not jumping in head first with expensive books. But anyway, everyone was talking about this for a while. And the hardcover is such a fun yellow. Does this look like a thriller? Not to me. Surely not. But I will read it eventually. Hopefully. One day. Next, I have got The Measure by Nikki Ehrlich. This is like a fun Black Mirror-y, John Mars-y kind of sounding book, where one day everyone wakes up and on everyone's doorstep there is a box, and inside the box is the number of how many years you have left to live. And obviously it becomes a whole thing of, do you open the box, do you not? What do you try and change in your life if your time is too short? And how do you try and maintain a high number if you have it? I'm interested, I'm intrigued. I am not going to read it today, or probably anytime soon, but I will read it one day. Either that or I'll go on a massive, crazy unhaul day and that book is going to get chucked out. Next, I have got The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson. Lana Ferguson wrote The Nanny, which I still haven't read, but had amazing things. This, I believe, is a werewolf romance? Mackenzie is an ER doctor and her grandmother is like, when are you going to date someone? When are you going to get a boyfriend? And spur of the moment, Mackenzie just blurts out the name of the unmated alpha in her area. Lo and behold, Noah, the alpha in question, who's also a cardiologist. Checks out, is about to get basically ripped a new one by going to a board meeting with the other werewolves and be like, yes, so I still haven't got a mate, sorry about it. But Mackenzie comes along and she's like, look, I did a stupid thing. I told my grandma we're dating, and they decide to fake date because it makes sense for both of them to fake date. We're here for it. Next, I have got Good Half Gone. This is about twin sisters. One of them goes missing. Well, one of them she sees her twin get kidnapped and taken, but no one believes her. Everyone's like, oh no, I'm sure she just ran away, I'm sure she's fine, she'll come back later. And our MC is like, no, I saw her get dragged into a car, she was kidnapped. I don't know what happens after that. I haven't read it yet, obviously. Anyway, the last book in the F category is All Good People Live Here by Ashley Flowers. Now apparently this is really popular, which I didn't know this was why it was popular, because a real life podcaster wrote this book. It's basically about a detective trying to solve a cold case from 25 years prior about a girl going missing or getting kidnapped. I'll read it one day, for sure. I'm gonna go put away some of the books that I've already spoken about, and I will be back momentarily. Guys, we've got one author for G, and it is Sierra Greer for Anibot. This is basically, again, another Black Mirror kind of vibe about a guy who buys a robot girlfriend. Like, Annie is a robot created to be the perfect boyfriend. But then, you know, she starts feeling a little bit pissed off at her human partner, and I think it's just basically to see the relationship between humans and AI developing feelings and consciousness. That's a vibe. Yeah. Next I have got The Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison. I have never read a Rachel Harrison book, but I really wanted to. I feel like all of her books are right up my vibe. This is about a woman who, when she's 18, leaves the religious commune that her family's part of and has to come back years later for the wedding of her cousin. And she's definitely the black sheep of the family. Apparently this is a horror. It's supposed to be spooky ooky. I don't remember purchasing this book, but it is The Heiress by Rachel Hawkins. The Wife Upstairs by Rachel Hawkins I really enjoyed. It was a Jane Eyre retelling. This one I'm not too sure about. I think it's just a family, woman dies and the leftover family try and figure out who should own her condo. I don't know, haven't read it yet. We've got two books here that I'm so excited for. I'm so excited. We have got Bride and we have got Not in Love by Ellie Hazelwood. The fact that I purchased Bride this year and this was released on Tuesday, wild to me. This girl is pumping out the bookies. I have got the audiobook for Not in Love. I think it's just, Sarah said it is a lot darker than all the other STEM books, but later told me that Bride she liked. I think it's a vampire werewolf romance. I'm probably going to read Not in Love first, just because I have the audiobook for it already from Sarah, but I'm going to absolutely eat these both up. Ellie Hazelwood can do no wrong. She is queen. She is author by author. Newest author by author, Emily Henry. Funny story. I have read all of Emily Henry's books up until this one. This is about these two people. So her boyfriend and his girlfriend were cheating with each other, and these two are like, I guess we should hang out. We have a bit in common. The next book I have is Hex by Thomas Old Helveltz. This is a witchy, spooky town vibe book that I actually got out of my 101 Books to Read Before You're Killed horror guide, and I don't know, this one just seemed a little bit different, something I probably haven't read before. There's basically a folksy tale in the town that there is a witch, and one day I think things come to fruition and maybe the witchy is going to actually be a thing. I picked up Collide by Bal Cabra for $12 from Kmart because basically it looks like an absolute repeat of Icebreaker, and I like cute books. It is definitely about, so a sports psychologist and a hockey star. I've got A Nettle and Bone by T. Kingfisher. This is different from Kingfisher's usual stuff. Usually T. Kingfisher writes horror. This is meant to be more of a fairy tale fantasy horror as opposed to a contemporary real life what is happening horror. That's basically all I know about it. It's about a princess who is the third born, and she has to save herself, and we love a girlie that saves herself. I need to read more T. Kingfisher actually. The next two books I'm so gosh darn excited to own. I don't even know if I want to show them this early in the video. Do I want to reveal my hands? I'm going to. I have got the bookish box editions of A Dance with the Fae Prince and A Deal with the Elf King. I don't know if you can see, but right behind me up here is my Married to Magic hardcovers, but these were on sale on Facebook Marketplace for $70 each, which I know is like still quite a bit, but $70 for these, I've seen them sell for like 200 a piece, so I grabbed these up while I could. I love the cover art. They both have reversible dust jackets, which I still like the art. It's just very different vibes. Like, this is all like pastel cutesy, and this is all very sexy. So they're fun. This is what the naked hardcover looks like. End pages are foresty, and the edges have this cute little pattern. Next we are moving on to the L authors. So we have got That's Not My Name by Megan Lally. This is a girl who wakes up on the side of the road, has no memory of who she is, gets picked up by this guy who says he's her father. He's got like her birth certificate and family photos, but she's mighty suspicious of him. And this definitely sounds like that Brenda Song thriller that was on Netflix, or is on Netflix. I couldn't tell you what it's called, but it sounds like a really similar vibe, except it's a bit different between wife and husband and father and daughter. I'm excited. Like, that's all I'm gonna say. It's been very highly regarded. The only thing that concerns me is that on Amazon, the genre this is listed under is like young adult sexual health or young adult sexual guidance. Like, and at first I thought, oh, okay, so it's not the horror that I thought it was. Amazon's just goofed, which, I mean, what's new? Doesn't surprise me. Okay, this L section is quite easy for me to go through, actually. I've previously mentioned Stalked by the Kraken by Lillian Lark. I decided just to bite the bullet and buy the rest of her books because I know I'm gonna love them. They're all monstery romances. So we have got Deceived by the Gargoyles. This is definitely a throuple situation, I think. Then we have got a little novella called Ensnared by the Werewolf. We love. Then we have got Entranced by the Basilisk. Got a cute little trio, little throuple going on. And then Hoarded by the Dragon. I think they're all great vibes. So I am excited for the rest of the series because, I don't know, I just think monster romances are so fun. They're usually really light. So, yes. I have also got the newest Christina Lauren book, The Paradise Problem. This basically is about a woman fake dating / fake marrying / marriage of conveniencing a guy so he can get his inheritance. But she's like literally the exact opposite of his family. His family's very hoity-toity, and she is not that person. She is like foul-mouthed and loud and definitely isn't going to fit in with them at all. But Christina Lauren, very hit or miss with me. Some of their books are so completely average, and others of their books actually destroy my soul and make me want to die. So we'll see. I'm quite far behind with Christina Lauren books. I'm probably like 4 or 5 releases behind. So maybe the writing styles change. I don't even know if I still like Christina Lauren, but I guess we'll figure it out together. Next, I have got The Catch by Amy Leah. I own a couple of her other books, Set on You and X's and O's. I own both of those books. I haven't read any of them, but again, this was a Big W $12 purchase. So yeah, another fake engagement. I feel like fake engagement, fake dating, fake marriage, that is definitely the vibe. There are so many times in this video I feel like I've already said fake dating. So I guess that's the trend right now, which I'm not mad at, but I'm just like, it's a little bit repetitive, my dudes. A little bit repetitive. Okay, moving on to the M section, I have got more Frida McFadden because Frida is my queen. Try and convince me otherwise, you are incorrect. So I think her newest release is, yes, her newest release, apart from The Housemate is Watching, is The Teacher. I haven't read this yet. My friend Sarah read it. She said she really liked it. A lot of people online seem to think it's like disgusting and like really taboo and kind of gross, but that's definitely my vibe. So I'm so cool with this book. Maybe I'll read it today. I've definitely got it on Everend, so I might actually pick it up today. Then I've got The Perfect Son. This was an Amazon warehouse return. There's like a little bit of damage here on the cover. And this is about a woman whose son is potentially like a murderer or rapist. Very we need to talk about Kevin vibes, except in the Frida format. I don't remember what Sarah said about this book, because Sarah's read more Frida than me, and I don't remember if she said she liked this one or not. I think she did. I know she definitely liked The Teacher. And I also have got One by One by Frida. I don't think Sarah's read this one. She hasn't mentioned it to me yet. I have no idea what this one is about. A car breaking down, a group walking to a remote accommodation, and she's, I guess, stuck with a bunch of strangers. That sounds like a bad idea. And I think that book is Also on Everand, I am annoyed myself. I was so excited for this book. Like, I purchased it not from Amazon. I purchased it from Dimmicks because it would have gotten here like a week earlier through Dimmicks than from Amazon. And once I purchased it, I put it on my shelf and I haven't read it, which, shame on me. It is the newest book in the Wayward Children series. Okay, that's fine. It is Mislaid in Parts Half Known by Shauna Maguire. This book is the ninth book in a series of pretty short, like, novella kind of books. They all follow these children in this world, in the Wayward Children world. Things like Alice's rabbit hole and Mr. Tumnus through the wardrobe, they're all real. Like, they happen to these children where they walk through a door, end up in this magical world that perfectly, like, fits their personality, or fits their aesthetic, or a world that they're supposed to learn something from and gain something from. And once those children live this magical fantasy life, they get spit back into the real world. And that is when they are basically gathered by Eleanor West. She gives these children a place where they can freely talk about their experiences without being judged or without being sent to a mental hospital. They definitely bond over their grief of losing what could potentially be the happiest they've ever been. It's a really, really good series. I am concerned because this one is set in a dinosaur world. I do not give a single flying fuck about dinosaurs. That is not my... I mean, I've had so many friends that are obsessed with dinosaurs. Like, Jurassic Park was their childhood #1. I've never seen Jurassic Park. I don't care about dinosaurs at all. So it'll be an interesting read, but I know that it definitely features the character that we had in the last book. I really should read this. I will see if this is on Everand as well. If it is, it'll be a really quick read. I could probably get through it today. I mean, probably. I could definitely get through it today. Will I? Is what the probably is. I purchased 2 books by Adrian McKinty because of one person's recommendations on TikTok. I was feeling very, very susceptible that day. So I purchased The Chain, which I've already heard great things about. This follows a chain of kidnappings where someone's child will get missing, and then they get a call, and the kidnapper will say, you need to kidnap another child before I let your child go. So that's what they do. They will kidnap a child, their child gets released, and then they call the parent of the child they've kidnapped, and it is a chain of kidnappings. I don't know how it would start. I don't know how it's going to end, but it's intriguing, and I've heard quite a few people, like I said, talk about this book. But I didn't know that Adrian McKinty had another book that people seem to really like. It's called Island. It follows a family of 4 going to stay on an Australian island, on the coast of Australia, or just outside the coast of Australia, whatever. They are the only inhabitants apart from the owners of the island, who are also there. One day something happens, some sort of accident, some sort of problem, and apparently shit just gets wild from there. We're here for wild. Apparently it's really fast paced and really, really easy to get through. So, last book in the M category, we have got The Quiet Tenant by Clements McKellen. Surnames are very difficult for me. This book, I think it's just about a normal guy. People know him, people like him, he's hardworking, he's got a family, and he also keeps women locked in his shed after he's kidnapped them. And a lot of people were excited about this book and then said that it was really slow, boring. I am still excited for it, because I've heard quite a few other people say that they heard all the bad and they don't understand it. I think I might be that kind of person. Again, though, the font is so small in this book. Some of us don't like wearing our glasses and would prefer font to be bigger. Can everyone just cater for me? That would be so good. Thank you so much. I picked up Jawbone by Monica Adea. This is meant to be a fever dream horror. Actually, maybe this doesn't have a plot. I don't know, but it is one of the books that was listed in my horror genre deep dive, so I purchased it because also this cover, I just think it's creepy and it's cool, and also the title page goes across 2 pages. I don't know, I think it's just gonna be an interesting book. It probably won't be great, and I'm probably not gonna understand most of it, but I think it'll be interesting. And at the end of the day, that's really all I can ask for from books. We are down to the second last stack, and this video is longer than I thought it was going to be somehow. So, moving on to the P section, we've got a single book, and it is Happily and Never After by Lynn Painter. I love Lynn Painter. I've heard people say that her YA is great, but her adult not so much. As someone who has read both her adult and her YA, she can do no wrong to me. I love Lynn Painter. This is the newest adult release And this kind of sounds really similar to Funny Story about two people getting together because they find out their partners are cheating with each other, and they plan on basically getting their revenge, but along the way end up, I guess, falling for each other and deciding maybe revenge isn't the way. Maybe there's a better way to get through the feelings. Next, I picked up the second book in the Jacksonville Rays series by Emily Rath. I haven't read the first book yet. Why do these books need to be so long? The audiobook for the first book is 24 hours long. I shit you not. That is a long book. And this one is probably going to be exactly the same. It's over 600 pages. These are just hockey romances, my dudes. I just read Icebreaker first time, had never read it before, and that was, I think, 400 pages, and it still felt too long. 600 pages, how much drama, and again, with the tiny baby font, how much drama do you possibly have that you need to fit 600 pages of it into a book? Moving on to this author, apparently a really well-known thriller writer. Never seen any of their books in Australia. It is called You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. I know that her newest release, Home Is Where the Bodies Are, possibly, is popping off. Everyone is loving it, getting special editions, can't stop talking about it. This is not that book. This is the one she published previously. And apparently she is the queen of plot twists. So says Colleen Hoover. She books an Airbnb and goes away on a remote ranch. Really, really likes the owner named Kelvin. Really vibing with him. But there's no cell phone service. There's a missing woman. Something doesn't feel right. If she ends up falling for this guy and he turns out to be psycho, that is my vibe. I love a woman who knows something is probably not right, but still lets herself fall for the guy. I'm excited. Actually, let's see if that is audibly available to me. I next have two books from the same series. What is the series called? Rebel Blue Ranch. We have got Done and Dusted and Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage. Tell me these covers aren't the most adorable thing you've ever seen. That is partly why I purchased them. These are standalone romances that make up a bigger series. This one is Brother's Best Friend, and this one is I guess a workplace romance. They met at a bar, they really hit it off, and then he finds out that she's actually the interior designer working on his latest project, and I guess cool. I'm so excited. These books are so cute. They're so stinking cute. Next, I have got Burning Girls and Other Stories by Veronica Schnoers. This one, as you can tell, is not in the best. Well, I don't know if you can tell actually. It's not in the best condition. The book is basically twisted, but it was $3 from an Amazon warehouse return, so I picked it up. This is a short story collection about women. It's very women feminist, what women have to go through, and I'm here for it. I've heard really great things, so I picked it up because it was uber cheap. Uber Java. We are now on to 4 books by the same author. I was going through a thing this year. This is a haul from February, March, April, May, and most of June. This is a 5-month build-up, so I guess in these 5 months I was just vibing with Mia Sheridan, because as well as the 2 books that we talked about in the books that I'd read, I bought another 4 books. So we have got Falling for Gage, no idea what it's about, I don't know, chance meeting that ends up being romance. Then we have got Grayson's Vow. Is this from, yes, this is a Signs of Love book, so this is the Libra book. Temporary arrangement, so fake dating so that she can get her inheritance. Well, I think she says, if you marry me so I can get my inheritance, I'll give you a payout, and he is an ex-con, so he kind of needs the money. Then we have got Keeland. Keeland is, I think, a Signs of Love. Yes, this is the Taurus legend, and I have no idea what this is about. Strangers to friends to lovers. Cool. And then we have got Stinger, and I'm going to take a stab and say this is the Scorpio. Yes, this is the Scorpio Signs of Love. So Mia Sheridan, in case I haven't actually explained myself, has a series of books. I don't know if it's ever been completed, but her series of books, each one follows a different sign of the zodiac. Each one's inspired by and has references to one of the signs of the zodiac. So I didn't mention it before, Becoming Calder and Finding Eden, that duology is actually the Aquarius sign, which I am an Aquarius, because it has a lot to do with Calder. First of all, his title in the commune is Water Bearer, and he finds himself very much at peace and very happy in the water. And he also gets used the way that the Legend of the Aquarius explains. So yeah, Stinger. Stinger is about two people that meet, have a whirlwind romance, and then realize that they don't want to separate from each other, I suppose. Who's to know? Surely not I. Moving on, I hate the cover of this book. I didn't want to pay extra for the US version, but the UK cover is absolutely horrendous. This is called The Center by Aisha Manazia Siddiqui. Look at this cover. I mean, it's kind of trippy, it's kind of a vibe, it looks kind of good on camera, but I like absolutely hate it. This is, I guess, another Black Mirror near future kind of a book about a woman who finds out that there is an invite-only elite program that guarantees total fluency in any language in just 10 days. But then she starts to learn about like the cost of going to the center, and I did not realize the font in this book, massive, well, not massive, but bigger than I would assume, so maybe we'll try that today as well. We have got Night Watching by Tracy Sierra. This is about a woman who's home alone with her son during a blizzard. Someone breaks in. How is she going to save her child? I don't know. I have not read. But it was popping off and everyone was anticipating it, so I started anticipating it, and as soon as it was available, I ordered it. The next 3 books are all from the same author. I have got Hopeless, Powerless, Reckless, all by Elsie Silver. I already owned the first 2 books in the series, and I decided, like, fuck it, let's just get the rest of the books in the series. So now I have the entire series, but you know what? Our girl, Ellie Hazelwood, has left a little comment on the cover of this book. Oh, on all of the books. And I trust Ellie Hazelwood with all of my reading preferences. So, even though I don't necessarily enjoy ranch, cowboy, kicking feet in the dirt, cowboy hat vibes, I'm just going to trust that Ellie Hazelwood knows what's best for me, and that these books are really, really good. Next, I don't know what month this book was from, because I have a lot of issues with this company and their shipping times are absolutely ridiculous. They get pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. No tea, no shade, but also all the tea, all the shade. I'm no longer subscribed to this company's book boxes, and if I am ever interested in one of their books, I try and find it elsewhere through another seller. So this is the last book I got from them before I cancelled my subscription, FYI. This is Start a War by Elle Thorpe. Elle Thorpe is an Australian author. I have no idea what this book is about because it's a special edition. We don't care about the plot. But got a little signature. And the little dedication at the start is for all the women who like their fictional men dark, sexy, and stabby. This one is for you. I don't know what this is about. Maybe something about a prison, possibly. I have no idea, but this is one of the few editions that this company has come out with recently that I have actually really liked. Look at that foiling. I think that is actually really beautiful. So, in the same kind of theme, in keeping with the theme, I have more books by Elle Thorpe. So, me and my friend Sarah went on a hour-long drive to go to this little bookstore in country Victoria, and it is basically an indie romance bookstore. There are some special editions and signed editions, and really liked it. They had candles and tote bags and mugs and stuff. It was a really, really fun time, especially because me and Sarah went and got pies afterwards. We wanted a country pie. We went out and we got some country pies. But while I was there, I purchased 2 books. The first one I purchased was Ride, Dirty Cowboy by Elle Thorpe. Again, with the foiling. Hello, sexy, sexy foiling. Hello, cute little flower sprayed edges. And hello, signed by Elle Thorpe. So this book was, I think it was $35, which is quite a bit for a paperback. I will admit that. However, with this cover, these edges, and it's signed, what a fucking steal. This is about a woman. She's leaving a party one night with her boyfriend and her boyfriend's best friend. They get into a car accident. The boyfriend dies, her and the best friend don't, and then I guess through their grieving process they get together. But like I said, these are all cowboy romances. I don't know if I like cowboy romances. So even if I dislike them, am I going to keep them because of the sprayed edges? Most definitely. So I purchased that one that day. Then later on in the month, maybe like 4 or 5 weeks later, I decided I couldn't live with myself if I then wanted to buy the other books in the series and they weren't the sprayed edges. So I decided to, instead of drive for another hour, decided to just order them online, which ended up being a lot fucking quicker. So I have got Sexy a Dirty Cowboy, foil, love, beautiful, sprayed edges, and also signed by Elthorpe herself. I don't know what this one is about. I think it might be between a cop and someone who's going into witness protection, and they basically have to pretend to be a married couple in witness protection. Like, she wants to be there to like watch him. Vibes. Vibes. And then the last one is Talk a Dirty Cowboy. Again, the foiling, beautiful. Sprayed edges. They're so pretty. And also signed. Also, all the audiobooks for the series are on script, so we love to see that. And this one, who's to know, it's a single parent romance. And the guy is a bull rider. Cool. I don't really agree with bull riding as a profession, but like, it's fine. This next book is called The First Day of Spring. This again was just literally popped up in a TikTok recommendation video, and I thought, okay, checks out. Don't know what it's about. Don't know why it's got like sticker residue. There's no stickers on this book when I purchased it. 8-year-old Chrissy goes missing, and then 15 years later, Julia gets a call, and she thinks that it is about when Chrissy went missing 15 years earlier. I don't know what this is. I don't really know what it's about, but it's supposed to be a really good thriller, so I got it. I also purchased 2 books by CJ Tudor, because I realized, vampire, thriller, spooky vibes, love it, wanted to get it. And then after I purchased The Gathering, I realized the only book I didn't own by CJ Tudor was The Drift. This was an Amazon return, so I got it for half price. I'm failing to see where the damage is, like, anywhere on this book. Oh, I guess maybe that back. Oh, it's the back. This back corner is slightly bent. And The Drift is basically about a girl, I think, who survives a school shooting, decides to go away with her friends. They get stuck in their coach, like their coach bus. Who's to know? Scary vibes. The next book, I can't believe I haven't read this. It is so short. I just cannot bring myself to do it. It is called Unhinged by Vera Valentine. My friend Lita, I say friend. She bought me this book for my birthday. It is a romance between a woman and the door to her apartment. He is so fucking sexy. Look at him. It's 80 pages. I could easily finish this in like half an hour, 40 minutes. But do I want to put myself through that? Maybe I will, just for the sake of Lita. Maybe. Boys, we are on the final stretch. So we're down to the W's. I have got Butcher and Blackbird by Bryn Weaver. I maybe will also start this today. I'm going to be giving a lot of books a chance today. I've decided with my 2 gal pals, Sarah and Lita, this is a book we're all going to read by the end of June. It's about 2 serial killers falling in love and potentially killing other serial killers. I am kind of excited. I've heard that this book will ruin pizza for me, or so it claims. I think that's a very difficult thing to do, but we're going to read it and hope for the best. I also just received in the mail Untamed and Unruly. This is the second part to the Wild and the Free by Kay Webster. Very taboo. Not going to go into the plot. Don't know why I purchased it. Probably going to make me cringe, but that's fine. We've got The Book of Accidents by Chuck Wendig. This was another one that was recommended in my 101 books to read before you're killed horror guide. This one sounds fun. Yeah, the font is absolutely tiny. It's gonna be a long book. Basically, this couple, Nathan and Maddie, Nathan lived in this old house in the country with an abusive father. Weird shit happened. Maddie was there, saw something she should have. They both yeeted out, decided, no thank you, bad vibes, not going back. But then they get married and they have a son and they decide it's a good idea to move back. And then weird things start happening to their son. So maybe not a good idea. Just FYI to anyone out there, potential parents. If you're moving out of a house because bad vibes and spooky things are happening and then you have a child, don't move back to that house maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Next is a book Sarah actually picked out for me. The time that me and Sarah went to that store that was an hour away that had indie romances there, I said to Sarah, look around and pick out any book and I will buy it and I will eventually read it. Have I read it yet? Absolutely not. It is called Sick Boys by Clarissa Wilde. This girl's sister dies. She decides she's going to go to her sister's university, enroll, suss out the situation and find out why or how her sister died or was killed. This group of 3 guys, kind of like the leaders of the school, the boys of the Skull and Serpent Society, basically say, okay, we want your body, we want to use you whenever we see fit, and in turn we'll show you the ropes, we'll help you out, we'll gather some information to try and find out what happened to your sister. We love a white shoes romance. That is all I'm saying. It is a thick book. Well, not super thick, it's 500 pages. It's just a really heavy sort of book. And the last book on this stack, I didn't even purchase myself. Should have organized these books a different way. This book was actually gifted to me by some random person from Facebook. Basically, there's a Facebook group called Book Talk Baddies. Every Wednesday they post Wishlist Wednesday, where everyone, and they have different posts for the US, for the UK, for Australia, for other internationals, like all other countries basically. And everyone just posts their wish lists, the Amazon wish lists, and if you're lucky, some kind person will look at wish list and gift you a book. I myself have gifted 2 people books in the past, and this one time, so in the last 5 months, I was gifted Fool Me Once by Ashley Winstead. I've only ever read Ashley Winstead thrillers. I've never read her romance, but I'm very excited to see what happens. This I think is a second chance romance. This couple is dating in college, and then the girl thinks that he's cheating, never confirmed, but she definitely believes it. She's like, I'm convinced he was. And then 5 years later he comes back into her life, and it's a fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. No, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice. You know, I'm so just zoned out today. I don't even know which way is the correct saying, so we're just gonna ignore that. But this was gifted to me by Greta, and I've got the little note in the cover just to remember. And with that, we're finished with this book haul. I don't even want to think about the editing. It's just going to give me anxiety. I also need to have a shower because while my hair looks really cute in these like fun little curls, and the ends are absolutely dead, all my scalp, all my roots absolutely oily, like Macca's deep fryer oily. So I hope you guys have an amazing day. Don't know when this is going up. I couldn't give you. I'd like to say by the end of the day, but I also have pulled out 10 books that apparently I'm going to read today. So I don't know what's going to happen. I definitely need lunch and possibly a nap, but most importantly, a shower to get rid of this hair situation. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you are wiser with your money and don't spend as frivolously as me. Because this video actually made me realize, like, holy shit, I need to slow down, which is what my brother says constantly. Like, whenever he sees that I've ordered something else from Amazon, my brother is like, you need to slow down, you need to relax. I don't know how to do that. I just have this innate need to purchase every single book ever. And I've also got some really fun books coming my way this week, but I guess you'll see them in the next haul in 6 months' time. Enjoy your day. Goodbye, friends.